Hello, dear viewers, and thank you for staying with Football Planet, a show dedicated to football news on your Pan-African channel, Africanews. The 4 African teams in the FIFA U20 World Cup have since Sunday known the opponents. A difficult draw for South Africa. Senegal is the host country, as Mali faces France. An interesting group for Nigeria. Details of the group's composition in a few. In the African Champions League, Egypt's Ismaily is back. Lost points, $40,000 fine and 2 closed-door matches were the penalties imposed on the Egyptian club by CAF, 2 weeks after its reintegration into the tourney. The team recorded its first point on Saturday, and in the CAF Cup, Berkane beat defending champions Raja and takes off in Group A, while Étoile Sportive du Sahel records its first success in this tournament. Welcome to Football Planet. A week after the African Cup of Nations, the African teams qualified for the Under-20 World Championship with their eyes set on Poland on Sunday, where the draw was held. A fairly good draw for teams from the continent. Claudia Nsono has more details.
African teams that have qualified for the upcoming Under-20 World Cup now know what to expect after Sunday's group draw in Gdynia, Poland. A draw that is far from easy, especially for South Africa, who face Argentina, the most successful country with 6 trophies, Portugal and South Korea, who have a reputation for being tough at youth competitions. This shows the difficult task facing this South African team. On the other hand, Mali, African champions, will play Saudi Arabia, Panama and France, who appear to be the most difficult opponents in the group. Senegal, African runners-up, will face Poland, the host country, and Colombia as their main rivals, with Tahiti appearing to be the least complicated opponents in the group. Nigeria, on the other hand, will face Qatar, Ukraine and the United States in a group that is likely to be unpredictable.
And just a gentle reminder that this Under-20 World Cup will be held from May the 23rd to June the 15th. Now here's the composition of the other groups from the Polish gathering. We wish all the continent representatives good luck at this Under-20 World Cup, a tournament that Senegal will probably approach with the aim of forgetting the disappointment of the CAN lot for the 3rd time in a row, a little over a week ago. On the telephone now is club's coach Yusuf Dabo. Thank you, coach, for granting this interview. Before talking about this disappointment at the CAN, let's talk about the World Cup. Now that you know your opponents, what do you think is the best way to prepare for the tournament in less than 3 months?
We have to maintain a state of mind, continue to work as we do, of course, by trying to go a little higher, because we must not just be satisfied with the minimum. We have to progress at all levels, be it the technical, at the level of the staff, and at the players' level. We have to progress because we are all young people doing what we know how to do best. We must not deviate from our path or want to change all of a sudden because it's the World Cup. I think it will be a big mistake. It's important to have friendly matches, especially with European or even Asian countries, because until then we haven't played with them. We just played Saudi Arabia. To be able to confront ourselves with this type of football, we have to boost our level before reaching this World Cup.
Let us now return to this 3rd loss. We imagine it was difficult for you and your players. Have you taken this loss in?
Yes, we are competitors. We know we can't always win. So from there, we have to evacuate this disappointment very quickly so that we can concentrate on the rest of the deadlines. It was difficult. It was a big disappointment. I think for the players and also for me, they didn't just see themselves losing the game. But then I said earlier, it's a competition, that's football. it's not always the best team that wins. After that, on the other side, we had a very, very determined opponent. We, of course, were determined, but here we are. We must learn the lessons and move forward. This is a third final for Senegal, a first for my staff and many players. We have to learn the lessons and keep moving forward, but it was still difficult.
And what lessons have you learned from this Africa Cup of Nations?
We are making progress with a lot of confidence, and that is an important aspect in this kind of tournament. Our introduction to the first game gave us more confidence in everything we were doing before the tournament. The message is going through. What is especially important and what I remember is convincing the players through the messages we gave them by making them understand that it is important to work this way. And they took ownership of the way of working. They integrated our point of view. I think in this kind of tournament, it's very important. You have to convince them that it is possible by working in this way. That is what I remember most about this tournament. After that, I would say the journey was exceptional, but it was a great performance until the final, because in the history of Senegalese football, none of the categories had this type of journey before.
Thank you very much, Coach. I wish you a very good success at the next CAN.
Thank you and good luck.
Youssouf Dabo is coach of Senegal's under-20 national team. Egypt Ismaily can no longer afford to make mistakes in the African Champions League, both on the pitch and its stand-in. Almost 2 weeks after its reinstatement, the Egyptian club was subjected to heavy sanctions by the CAF disciplinary jury. It follows the interruption by its supporters of a march against the Tunisians of the African club on day 2. Ismaily lost this march. Here's Jerry Bambi's report.
The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has gone tough in its measure to enforce discipline. The disciplinary panel of the body decided to penalize Ismaily FC after crowd trouble brought an early end to their Group C match with Tunisia's club Africanews in January. In addition to having awarded 3 points of victory to Ismaily's opponent, Africanews, CAF also inflicted on the Egyptian club a fine of $40,000. And that's not all. Ismaily would have to compete in 2 matches behind closed doors, one of which is suspended. Club Africanews were leading 2-1 and both teams and officials had to be protected as they left the pitch. The match was called off in stoppage time after water bottles and stones were thrown at an assistant referee and African players. This incident had resulted in the exclusion of the Egyptian team before being reinstated a few weeks later after an appeal. But if the club must avoid harsher penalties, its Ismaily-based supporters would have to avoid further excesses.
The Egyptians know where they stand. They started their catch-up session on Saturday, but they could not do better than a point sharing on their pitch. 1 goal against CS Constantine for the 3rd day. A result that does not affect the ranks but still allows the Algerians with 1 game less to come back to TP Mazembe, leader of Group C with the same number of points. The return match between CS Constantine and Ismaily will be played on March the 3rd before resumption of the competition slated for the 8th. We will return to this. Now let's talk about the CAF Cup, which was played on Sunday, the last day of the group stage. Day 3 was full of twists and turns, and the beautiful display by RS Berkane on the Rajan lawn of Casablanca. A 4-2 victory allowed the Oranges to fly ahead in the ranking. At the same time, Étoile Sportive de Sahel recorded its first victory in this tournament.
Tout reste donc à jouer, comme le montrent ces tableaux.
We're almost at the end of the show, but how can we leave you without mentioning Lionel Messi's exceptional, somewhat historic performance? A 50th hat-trick and a celebration like that of Kim Pele 50 years ago. The Argentine genius once again lit up his world on Saturday at Sevilla FC. 3 sublime goals that once again thrilled his teammates and coach, Ernesto Valverde, for whom the 5-time Golden Ball is simply the best player in the world.
He scored 3 goals. He gave an assist. He's a decisive player. He's a superior player, but he's the most decisive player on the pitch. They also have decisive and great players like Jesus Navas, but Messi is the best. He's the best in the world, not only because he scored 3 goals. He's the best because he reads the game and knows what the team needs. And he's just the best. There is no question.
And one can only bow to such talent. Thanks to this hat-trick, Lionel Messi is now more than ever in the first place among the top European scorers, ahead of Parisian Kylian Mbappé, who scored twice against Nimes this weekend. His 50th and 57th goals in League One at only 20 years old. Simply stunning. And also know that Manchester City won the English League Cup over Chelsea on Sunday. It was a 4-3 penalty shootout win at the end of playtime. And that's how we end the program, which you can find on our website at Africanews.com. Let's continue our talk on football at the addresses displayed on your screen. I wish you an excellent week and look forward to seeing you next Monday. Goodbye.